Josh Green here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by Mikael Hennessy Jr. here at the press conference with Mikael, Lawal and Isaac Chamberlain. Did you think you'd be standing here a couple of days ago?
You know what, when I first got the news, my heart dropped for a second, but I was immediately reassured that the show would probably still go ahead. So that's exactly how I've treated it, and I've stayed focused and treated it as if I was fighting Saturday, and that's exactly what's happening. So thanks to Boxer and Sky Sports for saving the day.
How much did it make a difference to preparation? Because your mind must be all over the place when you hear that Buatsi Aziz isn't on, and there's so many different scenarios that could come out of this.
You know what? It didn't make any difference to the preparation. It was only on Tuesday, taper week. You know, you're only doing light training anyway. It's more the mindset more than anything. You just have to ignore all what's going on and just treat it as if you're fighting, because otherwise your mind's a powerful thing, and if that's all over the place, that can ruin everything. So, physically with camp, it didn't affect me at all.
In the opposite corner, it will be Joe Laws, obviously originally scheduled to be Harley Ben. In your opinion, why isn't it Harley Ben in the opposite corner on Saturday night?
Harvey Ben has bottled it. That's as simple as that. He said on Instagram he's had a bigger and better offer from Joe Laws after he signed the contract to fight me. After he's announced it, he said he had a bigger and better offer to fight Joe Laws, and now Joe Laws has stepped in to fight me. So, yeah, everyone can see what's happened there, can't they? He's talked all his rubbish and he's shown his feathers in the end.
What do you make of Joe Laws? We saw him on Sky Sports platform early in his career, and he was having some success, but obviously had a couple of setbacks. Where is he in his career, and how much of a challenge does he pose to yourself?
Listen, I've known Joe a long time. We've known each other since the amateur days. He's a great fighter. I know he's coming towards the end of his career now, but I'm not underestimating him. Like I said at the press conference, I'm expecting the best Joe Laws there's been. He's not going to be weight drained. He's going to come, he's going to bring the heat. He's going to try and take my head off, and he's going to be dangerous early on, so I need to switch on, but that's going to bring the best out of me, and that's what people will see. That's when I box at my best.
You said you've known him since the amateurs. I do want to talk a little bit about those sparring sessions. We've heard two different tales, really, of what happened during those sparring sessions. From your point of view, what happened?
From my point of view, he got his head boxed off. That's exactly what happened. So, listen, everyone says, there's two sides to every story, and then there's the truth. But, I boxed the head off him.
Then why is he telling us that he made you cry? That's what he's telling us, Mike.
I don't know why he's telling anyone that he made me cry, because listen, there's no room for crying in boxing. If you're crying after sparring and fights and that, there's no room in boxing for you. Unless you're like you've taken a loss. Obviously, no one likes losing. But if you're crying after sparring, get out the sport. And it's a blatant lie. So I'm made for this game.
Does that fire you up for Saturday night? Does that give you a little bit of an extra incentive going in that ring and proving him wrong, I guess?
No, because, listen, I know he's wrong, so that doesn't give me any extra incentive, but the incentive's there because he's dangerous. Like, although I'm saying I box ahead of him, I know he's dangerous, and I know he's going to try and knock me out early, so I'm going to have to be really switched on, and I'm not underestimating him one bit, because although he's had shorter notice, I know that he was preparing for these fights on, trying to get a fight with Misfits, trying to get a fight with Harvey Ben, and I know he's been getting ready for them. So I'm not underestimating him at all.
Yeah, you mentioned the short notice there. For yourself, was it an easy decision to say yes to Joe Laws?
1,000,000%. I was over the moon when it was Joe Laws, because at short notice it's going to be hard to find a replacement who's worthy, not worthy, but a replacement that brings a bit of everything: excitement, entertainment, a big following, who fits the bill basically for such a bumper massive show. Buatsi Aziz, it was originally meant to be at the O2. It couldn't be just anyone with a decent record sort of thing. So I was delighted when it was Joe. I know it's going to be a great fight. I know it's going to go off, so I'm over the moon.
How much of a different atmosphere is it going to be? There's going to be obviously 10,000 people, at least in the O2 arena, but now York Hall, a very, very different prospect for all the fighters on the card, I guess.
Listen, sometimes you can't beat the York Hall. It's very compact, and the atmosphere is going to be incredible. It'll probably be even better than the O2. So I'm thankful that it's been moved there. It feels like a second home to me. I've boxed there a few times before, so I'm happy.
You mentioned earlier that Joe Laws may be coming towards the end of his career. We've seen him sort of aligned in the Misfits. arena with the likes of Idris Virgo and Aaron Chalmers as well. Do you believe he's better suited to that sort of environment than professional boxing?
I definitely believe that's a logical step for Joe after this fight, or just in general, because he's an entertainer. He had everyone in hysterics up on stage there. He's made for the camera. He sells fights. And I think he'd do great on Misfits, and I think he takes a lot of them out, most of them, if not all of them out. So I'd like to listen. Look, I know we're fighting on Saturday, and we're going to give it to each other, and we're going to try and take each other's heads off. But I like Joe, and I want to see him do well at the sport. So he deserves it. I think that's a great move for him after this fight.
Final thing from you, give us a prediction for Saturday night. What we're going to see?
I predict a TKO victory for Michael Hennessy Jr.
That's what we like to hear. Cheers for your time, mate.